Welcome back. Now, the ongoing promoter dispute at the KK Modi Group and particularly at Godfrey Phillips has been making headlines. The death of KK Modi in 2019 has prompted a succession battle where Beena Modi is locked in dispute with her own sons, Samir Modi and Lalit Modi. Lalit has opposed Beena Modi's elevation as the MD of Godfrey Phillips and initiated arbitration proceedings against her. He proposed selling off the business and distributing sale proceeds within the family, a move that has been opposed by both Beena Modi as well as Samir. In June, Samir Modi alleged that he was assaulted by the security officer of Beena Modi and has filed an FIR with Delhi police. His mother has questioned these claims and has filed a defamation case against him. More recently, Samir Modi's bid for reappointment as the director had been quashed by the Nomination and Remuneration Committee. It is here that the upcoming AGM on September 6th becomes critical. Shareholders will be deciding on two key proposals. One, whether to reappoint Beena Modi as the MD, and two, whether to exclude Samir Modi from the board of directors. Interestingly, at least two proxy advisory firms have recommended Beena Modi's removal. For more on this, we are now joined by the man himself, Samir Modi, joining us live. Mr. Modi, thank you so much for speaking to us, for taking our time. First question. A critical day, September 6th, the AGM, only a few days away now. It will be critical for deciding fate of two people. One, yours, whether or not your exclusion is fair from the board of directors. The other, whether Beena Modi can be reappointed as the MD of Godfrey Phillips. Are you having conversations with shareholders? What is the message that you're sending out to them?
Well, I've been talking to shareholders. The message is that the board and the company is independent of personal issues. And I think whatever the decision should be taken by the shareholders should be in the interest of the company rather than not any individual. I have been striving hard for the last 30 years under my tutelage of my father in the tobacco business, and I see no reason why I should be removed.
Which was, in fact, my very next question. The NRC, the Nomination and Remuneration Committee, firstly, the Saket court held that you're not entitled for reappointment, but said that you were eligible. The NRC, however, has quashed your bid, citing issues regarding your conduct. The question being asked is, you think the NRC acted fairly or it acted independently in assessing your candidature, your eligibility?
I think the NRC is not independent at all. I wish it was independent, but the NRC not being independent and the district court saying I should be recommended did not hold any value, since the NRC, I feel, is not independent at all. After
Which
all,
again brings the
NRC
focus back to the September 6th. Yeah, please go ahead, Mr. Modi.
The NRC elected me 3 years ago for a 5-year term, which gets over in 26. So NRC had already qualified me for appointment. It's just that since I come up by rotation, and I feel that the NRC in this case is not independent, since they are fighting against me. Why will they recommend me?
Which again brings the focus back to September 6th. Again, a critical day there. Now, the only reference point that we have as to how the shareholders should behave is coming from proxy advisory firms. One firm has said that Beena Modi should be removed, should not be reappointed, and has questioned your exclusion. But at the same time, that was Glass Lewis. The another firm, that's SES, led by J.N. Gupta, is saying that all family members should be removed altogether, including you. How would you respond to that?
Well, I think that there are two ways to look at it. One way to look at it is, the way I see it, is that I don't work for the family. I work for the company. I work for the shareholders. And for me, creating shareholder value is of prime importance. Nothing else matters. Families come, families go. And therefore, I'm in tune with the Glass Lewis report saying that I should not be removed. And there is no reason for my removal in the first place. There's no citing, there is no disclosure made by the company on my removal. What they're citing as my behavior is me taking offense to me being assaulted while entering a board meeting. And that is the reason they have cited as my behavior not being one of a director.
In fact, you've made a reference to that assault. We'll come to that in just a bit. That's, of course, a highly contentious issue as well. But speaking of shareholders' interest, one of the suggestions that fell from J.N. Gupta's SES is that perhaps it is wise to consider that all family members be removed from the board of directors and let Godfrey Phillips be a professionally managed company. Is that a sustainable solution to this dispute within the family regarding the inheritance dispute?
I don't think the inheritance should got anything to do with the board. I agree the board should be professional. I feel the board should be of the highest quality. And whatever needs to be done has to be done in terms of shareholder value. I have been trained in tobacco. I studied tobacco. I trained in Guntur. I went into North Carolina. I trained with Philip Morris. So I spent many years of my life in Godfrey Phillips for the tobacco business. And therefore, if anybody knows tobacco among all the family members here, is me. I started with Guntur, went on to working in the
making a strong case for...
I'm sorry?
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Modi.
I started my
go ahead, Mr. Modi.
From college life, I started working in the Guntur platforms, went into working in North Carolina, worked in the plants in Ghaziabad, worked in the plants in Bombay, went and worked in Philip Morris Richmond, Louisville, went into international, then became a brand manager in Marlboro. So I'm a hardcore tobacco man. Yes, board has to be professional for sure, but also has to have people who are in the hit of shareholders and the company, and not for somebody who is just for themselves.
So you're making a strong case for your place as far as the board of directors is concerned. What about your mother, Beena Modi's place? Her elevation as the MD was contested by your brother as well. Are you contesting her position as well? Do you support that last Lewis report that her reappointment should be voted against by the shareholders?
Completely. I completely support the Glasgow report, Lewis report. I completely support my brother. I see no reason why my mother should be there. Firstly, she became an MD by virtue of the trust. Secondly, there is no place for personal battles on the corporate turf. And I think that the report is right. She should not be part of the board any longer.
You said you agree with your brother, Lalit Modi. One of the proposals that he had put forth as a result of the arbitration in Singapore, one of the issues that he had raised as a way of settling this inheritance dispute is to sell off the entire business altogether and then use the sale proceeds to distribute them among the family members. Are you in agreement with Lalit Modi on that issue as well?
I'm in agreement that the fight needs to end. One way or another, the fight is not good for anybody, not good for the shareholders, not good for the company, not good for the employees. And if my father was here today, I see no reason why. I don't think that he would disagree with me of not having my mother as the chairman.
But not agreeing on selling off the business, that is not something that you agree with.
No, I agree. Whatever it takes to end the fight, whether to sell the businesses, end of the day, value has to be created. End of the day, businesses cannot be suffered. End of the shareholders cannot be taken for a ride. And family fights should not have any place in the boardrooms. And if that is a solution to preserve value, so be it.
Right, so you've made a critical point there with respect to wanting to end the fight. All cards are on the table. You're willing to consider various options. But let me come back to that key issue as far as the issue of assault is concerned. You pointed out. At the very outset, the question that is being raised by Beena Modi's team is that what were you doing there in the first place? They're asking that this was an audit committee meeting on May 30th. You were not required to be there. You were not invited to be there. You were not a member of that audit committee. Why be there at all? That's the question being raised of you, Mr. Modi.
Well, I was invited to the audit committee meeting, and I've been attending the audit committee meetings since '94. Most board members attend the audit committee meeting. Fortunately, I had an invite as well. And irrespective of that, whether I was not invited or invited, doesn't account for being assaulted. Unless there's something to hide. What was there to hide to stop me to enter a meeting that I was invited for as a director of the company? And in fact, my attendance was
Which
taken.
again begs the...
My attendance was taken. My name was on the table.
Go ahead,
I had
Mr.
an
Modi,
email
go ahead.
invite. I said I had an email invite. Most directors were there in the audit committee meeting, attending it as well, who were not part of the audit committee. So therefore, I see no reason why that has been made such an issue that I was not invited when I was. If I wasn't invited, what were other directors doing there who were not part of the audit committee meeting as well? So this is a smoke screen that forces you assault because you got something to hide.
It's a smoke screen. That's the allegation that you've put across. That's the allegation. That's the allegation that you've put across, which brings me to the question, the allegation of the assault itself. You went ahead, filed an FIR with the police. Their security officer has also filed an FIR against you, saying it was the other way around. And to that end, they have been circulating a CCTV footage, a CCTV video, which they say shows that it was not the security officer attacking you, but you attacking the security officer. That's their claim. That's their stance before the police, before the court as well.
Well, the video they circulated has been edited. They've moved pieces here and there to show that I'm assaulting. I pushed the guy, yes, but still holding files in my hand. How do you explain that my finger, I had a 4-hour operation at Apollo under general anesthesia? How do you explain that?
Great. One final question as far as the assault is concerned. And this is with respect to concerns now being raised about even the discharge report that you got from the hospital. Questions are being asked that the discharge summary that you show, which suggests an injured index finger, is actually from way back in 2019. That's their contention.
Well, the operation records, the X-rays can't lie. I have never broken my finger in the first place until this incident happened. There is an MLC report. There is an FIR lodged. There is a record at Apollo with all the proofs. So for them to say 2019, I don't know what happened in 2019. I never got injured in 2019.
My one final question to you as far as this dispute is concerned, Mr. Modi. You talked about wanting to end this fight, wanting to settle this fight, you being in agreement regarding with your brother regarding settling of this dispute, even if it means selling the business altogether. Let's talk about you. Are you willing to sell out of Godfrey Phillips, your company, a legacy company that's been within the family?
Well, I'm going to do whatever it takes to create value. I mean, not to destroy shareholder value, not to destroy the company, whatever it takes. I'm not skewed one way or another. I am very clear that the company is above all. I'm very clear that my mother cannot be appointed again. I'm very clear that I'm supporting my brother. And I'm very clear that the NRC is defunct. How do they assault a director? How do they make up stories and come out with videos that are not true?
An important clarification there coming in from Mr. Samir Modi that he's willing to consider all options as long as it means ending this fight. But he remains firm on his stance that his mother has no place as the managing director of Godfrey Phillips. A couple of final questions to you, and this about the business. One of the aspects that was also up in a heated discussion within the board has been the role of the retail division in this business. Where do things stand right now, and how do they look from this point on?
Well, the retail division was created on the behest of my father. My father wanted to create an alternate, just like ITC, saying that GPI should have an alternate channel. And while he was alive, we had approved a budget infusion of 400 crores as per a Bain report that we had engaged them in. That never got implemented. And the retail business was there as a solid business. We started to make money. So to shut it down the way they did was not in shareholder interest. If we had to hive it off, we could have sold it. But to shut it down and make a loss for shareholder is, in my view, a judgment not taken well by the board and the NRC. And I think that that again a reason why my mother should not be appointed is simply because take decisions that are for the company and don't take decisions that are for yourself or for a vendetta.
Right, Mr. Modi, it's been a pleasure speaking to you to hear your side of the story. Mr. Samir Modi there making it clear that he's firm on his stance that come September 6th, he will bat against his mother as the MD of Godfrey Phillips, and that he's open to all options if it means settling this dispute within the family, including selling out and distributing the proceeds between the family. So, Mr. Modi, thanks once again for joining us with your thoughts in